I feel extremely elated. Elated that at least we have done an election. Somebody has emerged as our next, as our new president, the person of Mrs. Badejo Okusanya SAN. I congratulate her. For my colleagues who lost, I plead with them to accept the result and try some other time. There is bound to be a winner, there is bound to be a loser. I had earlier said that I'm elated for many reasons. And I think that election is definitely determined already. For me, I think the chicken has come home to roost. And I'm happy about that nearly 16 years after an injustice was perpetrated, a defined redress has come. And so I congratulate the new president, the 38th president of the bar, for our emergence. And I think it is an opportunity for us to review what has happened and see how we can clean up, a lot of mess that has been associated with the election. Of course, we need to do electoral reform to ensure that we begin to make more progress rather than the embarrassing development that we witnessed in the recent election, where many lawyers were unable to vote. I understand that the 3 presidential candidates too could not vote. So many lawyers could not vote. But I guess that if everybody has voted, the result would have been the same anyway. But then we should avoid situations where it appears that people have been disenfranchised intentionally. And so I urge the new leadership of the bar to put in place necessary machinery to ensure extensive electoral reform to prevent any manner of criticism against our subsequent election. I think that I'm being personal in this case. Personal in the sense that I was the candidate of Egbe in 2010 to contest for the post of General Secretary. I was a member of Egbe. Somebody who was not a member of Egbe was brought in, the person of my brother, Mr. Olumuyiwa Akinboro. He wasn't an SAN at that time. He was in Abuja. And the Nigerian Bar Association Constitution, wherever you practice, was your zone. I was practicing in Lagos, he was practicing in Abuja, and by virtue of that, it belonged to the north, while I belonged to the southwest. And when Egbe met, I was adopted as a candidate for the General Secretary. My brother, Adekunle Ojo, was also adopted. He was already the second vice president of the bar. So he wanted to move on as the first vice president of the bar. He was also adopted by Egbe. My other brother, Agbola Ogbada Esquire, was also adopted to run for the office of publicity secretary. Another person was adopted, Bodema Kende Esquire, who was chairman, Yola branch, was adopted to run for the office of third vice president. Unfortunately, some leaders of the Egbe decided to bring in Mr. Olumuyiwa Akinboro to run for the office of general secretary. And at the end of the day, in fact, the generality of members said no, Ogbara was the candidate adopted by Egbe. But they insisted, and then they set up a committee headed by some of our bar leaders. And at the end of the day, the committee screened us and insisted that Ogbara was the best candidate, and Egbe adopted me as their candidate. Unfortunately, Yemi Akangbe and others disagree with the decision of Egbe and undermine the decision of Egbe by supporting Olumuyiwa Akinboro by other means. In fact, they approached leaders of other groups and said that the position of Egbe is that Olumuyiwa Akinboro was their candidate, not Nurudeen Ogbara, which was not good enough. The other bar leaders were not happy with that. Egbe too was not happy. I could remember at the end of the day, Yemi Akangbe SAN was even mischievously saying that we will give you Ogbara treatment if you don't listen to us. Ogbara treatment he referred to was to say that, look, if you do not listen to us, we will adopt you, but we will make sure you lose that election. And so at the end of the day in Ibadan, after Akinboro won the election, I congratulated Mr. Olumuyiwa Akinboro, for winning the election, notwithstanding that I ought to have won. But all power belongs to God Almighty, and He gives it to whom He likes. So He has given it to you, and I urge all my supporters to support Him. So I'm using this opportunity to urge Mr. Olumuyiwa Akinboro SAN to also support Mrs. Badejo Okusanya as the new president, and take the results as it is and move on. God has divinely intervened in the matter, and so that redress has come. And that was why I referred to 16 years, But of course, Akinboro lost technically on merit, really. He lost on merit because, you see, you don't have a sense of entitlement in an election. Everybody is a stakeholder and is entitled to contest, to vote and be voted for. And so, but the Nigerian lawyers will decide who they want, and they have decided. I think we should move on. For the leadership of Egbe, it's an opportunity to conduct what I call retrospective review of their own involvement and activities in Egbe. The other time, I think people were complaining that Akinboro has been adopted. Why are other people contesting? My question is, when Nurudeen Ogbara, Adekunle Ojo, Bola Ogadamosi, and Bode Makinde were adopted by Egbe, the leadership of Egbe betrayed them, by asking that people should vote against them. And the leadership of Egbe are the one who put down this treacherous disposition. And it is not good. They practically destroy Egbe. And since then, all the candidates adopted by Egbe have always been losing. So it is the leadership of Egbe who taught other people how to manipulate and, betray their own people. And the other people have seen that, and they continue to betray, the leadership. That you people, you are not reliable, you don't value your own people, you betray your own people. So we can't rely on you. So when Egbe recommends people don't rely on them. They will rather vote for other persons. So there is need to do an internal cleansing. And people have to own up to the offenses, to the wrongs they have committed, and clean up the mess before it's too late. So we need to have a renaissance Egbe if progress is to be made at all. But this election has come, it has stayed. The winner has emerged. I congratulate the leadership. I support the new leadership, and I think that the bar is better for it. Well, adoption is not a bad idea, but the way and manner that adoption is carried out is what is important. If you do it fraudulently, you are going to get a fraudulent outcome. If you do it with good faith, you will get a very positive outcome. So when you want to do adoption, there must be unanimity. Not absolute, but near absolute unanimity. You don't say you adopt and then people should go to hell. No. Before you adopt, set up parameters and carry everybody along. If that is done, of course there is no problem. When Aketi was adopted, there was an issue. Daily Additional SAN did not agree, but people kept on associating, talking to him, eventually, and then the adoptions say true. That is a fantastic one. So when you want to do adoption, do it in a good faith. Carry everybody, every stakeholder along. Don't say because you are the leadership, this is what you have decided and it will be. No, that will not work. So, and if you cannot carry everybody along, please go ahead, and don't adopt. But if you are able to carry everybody along, adoption is good because it streamlines a lot of issues, and then brings about unity and a common approach to issue. But if you are not doing it in good faith, it will backfire. Because there are also other associated matter. Because you see, in the leadership, when the zoning thing was being done, there was a big issue about whether Midwest, for instance, was part of the Southwest or not. Unfortunately, the leadership of Southwest was then of the opinion that Midwest was not. But it's not every member of Southwest that supported that idea. I could remember that I granted an interview and I said, as far as I'm concerned, Midwest is part and parcel of Southwest. And so if zoning has come to Southwest, Midwest must be carried along. And I know that the leadership of Midwest actually made a concession by suggesting that when Sony comes to Southwest, the major Southwest should go twice, while Midwest should go one. I think that is fantastic, but somehow I understand that was not acceptable to the Southwest, and that was not good enough. You don't do that to your colleagues, to your own people. We are from the same area, and then again it is this sense of entitlement which lack merit. And the Midwest was not happy with that. And they said, okay, if that is your position, let's go ahead. And so we have an alleged running against Southwest candidate, and he won. Because the truth is that even Southwest lawyers voted for alleged. Because they believe in alleged, and alleged emerged. And the same thing happened with Akpata. But this time around, I think it is divine intervention that we have a Badejo Okusanya. Because if another Midwest candidate have come, perhaps that person would have won again. So there is a lot of dishonesty and insincerity on the part of the leadership of Egbe, as it then was, that has culminated in this. So a number of factors, I can give 21 reasons why Akinboro lost. So the one of the fine intervention is just one of those. So there are other reasons too. And the second one is this sense of undue sense of entitlement, by trying to cut off Midwest from Southwest. Where will the Midwest now belong? Are you going to say they belong to the Southeast or to the North? No, they are still here, and we can always agree on our arrangements. And interestingly, the Midwest leadership has been very focused. They've been very focused, and that is why they are making a lot of progress. Unfortunately, the Southwest leadership, it continues to be dishonest and insincere, because everything they've done so far was actually to put in place an Akinboro, as if Akinboro is the only person from the Southwest. That is not good enough, and that is so. I could go on and mention a lot of reasons. I remember, for instance, he actually gave a goodwill address at the Women Forum, and the presentation was not accurate, and those who listened to him were not happy, and they also protested against that speech by massively voting for Badejo Okusanya. So some of these things that our leaders do are actually responsible, for the outcome of this recent election that brought in Badejo Okusanya. So there is for us to do an internal auditing of our past activities and then clean it up and begin afresh. And that is what I call Renaissance Egbe, which I think should emerge from this miasma. Yes, thank you very much. Macro zoning will come when you have a leadership that is dishonest and insincere. There is already a person in view that they feel to occupy the office, and so they feel that they should use some stratagem to bring in that person. That is when the issue of macro zoning, comes in. And I think that without honesty and sincerity, it will not gel and it will backfire. The point is that if you are saying that you want to do macro-zoning, that some states have produced presidents in the past, those states that has not produced should then produce the next president. That is sincere. It's also dishonest, because in those era when people contested, they didn't contest on the basis of zoning. They didn't contest because they came from a particular state. As a matter of fact, zoning had not been introduced by the NBA Constitution to have now, obligated the issue of macro zoning now. So if you want to do macro zoning now, you can start with the new zoning formula. You don't go back and say that in 1970 somebody was president of NBA. In 1980 somebody was president of NBA from this state. This state has not produced, a presidential candidate or president of the bar, therefore should produce. No, throw it open. You can then use it as part of your parameter to say that this new constitution that has made provision for zoning start from now. So now that all of you are coming, if you are from so states, next time this state will not produce again. That is different from going retrospectively applying that some people have contested and occupied offices who came from this state. Therefore, those states are not eligible to produce candidates to run for that office again. For me, that is dishonest. It's also not sincere. And that is where the problem is. Apart from that, if you do macro zoning, for instance, between some states in the southwest, and then the Midwest, and say that, look, Midwest, which on their own are given the concession that Midwest produce president twice, we will produce one. Rather than accepting that, you now close your eyes to them and say that they do not exist, they do not belong to Southwest. I'm saying that is insincere and dishonest. They belong to their major components of Southwest, and they must be, in fact, the leadership must be commended, for voluntarily bringing out that formula in terms of application. But that was not appreciated by the leadership of the Southwest, and that was what created the problem. And that problem still exists, although the leadership now seeks to interface, with Midwest, which is a good development, and the Midwest accepted it. And that is why, for instance, the Midwest did not produce candidates to run for president of the bar for now. So that is commendable, and that is how it should be. But initially, that was not supported, and so I commend the leadership of the Midwest for that understanding and selflessness. And I think that the leadership of Southwest should also learn a lesson from that selflessness, and also be selfless even to their own people. You don't betray your people. You bring them out to contest the election, you don't vote for them, and then people are learning it. And now you have now brought somebody who you wanted, and then people realize that 16 years ago this was what you did. Okay, we will pay you back so that you know how it feels. Forward ever, backward never. We have made progress by embracing universal suffrage. We never go back, and we never support call to go back to delegate system. Delegate system excludes quite a number, in fact a larger portion of Nigerian lawyers, particularly young lawyers from 40. They have the right to exercise their franchise, to decide their leadership. We will not go back. The delegate system also has its own flaws and problems, the most important of which is exclusion of quite a number of lawyers. So we shouldn't exclude ourselves. It's the same issue that we are saying. We are sincere and honest with ourselves. We know that the dispersal suffrage for lawyer is the best. Yes, there are problems. Our challenge is how to face those problems squarely and make sure that we solve those problems. They are solvable problems. If you are sincere and honest, these challenges are solvable and we should solve them. And that is why I call for a summit on electoral reform within the NBA, so that we know what are the problems and what are the solutions. Once we know what the problems are, what the solutions are, it's as good as solved. And leadership is important. Now we have seen it. This is the height of it all. I believe that next time it will not be there. But we need the summit so that the necessary expertise will now be employed and deployed, to solving the problem. So we need a summit where we will be able to interface with ourselves, highlight all the problems, and highlight the solutions to the problem and move ahead. That is what is important. If it is necessary, the year before the election, we can even do a mock election to test the new system that we put in place, such that we will do away with all these problems and it will not occur again. And I think that is the way to go, not to go back to delegate system. Expectation for the incoming presidents are quite enormous, very, very enormous. One, she needs to quickly unify every stakeholder and make us one. Fortunately, I think I commend her, even the way her manner she carried her campaign. For instance, she was aware of the problem with Egbe. She knew the way her manner Akinboro emerged as general secretary, but she didn't use it against him throughout her campaign. She never did. She was also in fact, she's highly connected. She didn't use her connection even in the campaign. I know her relationship with Governor Babatunde Fashola, SAN. I know her relationship with Olumuyiwa, former Attorney General of Lagos State. I know her relationship with the immediate past Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Akangbe SAN. She didn't use that even in her campaign. That is commendable. Whereas some other people did. They displayed very extensively all their connections. She didn't use that. She was not also vulgar. She didn't abuse individuals during her campaign. She was focused on program, and I believe she will bring that to bear as the president of the NBA, knowing fully well that she is the president of all and carry every stakeholder along. She must consult extensively before decisions are taken. She must make sure that past presidents are carried along. She must be sincere and honest enough in whatever she's doing. She must also ensure that a summit on electoral reform within the bar is also conducted as soon as possible. We shouldn't wait for 1 year or even next year. We should start from now so that all the problems are fresh. We can still remember them and then we can find solution to them. She should also stick to the aims and objectives of the bar without compromising any of them. More importantly, she needs to put in place welfare scheme for Nigerian lawyers, both the old, the aged, our seniors at the bar, whose welfare is important. They must be carried along. She also needs to take into consideration the welfare interest of young lawyers, especially in terms of remuneration, in terms of job, satisfaction, etc., etc. Now, there is also an issue of a legal practitioner who is a member of the bar, who pays practicing fee. What does he get back from the bar? We have to address it seriously. The issue of MBA seal and stamp, it has to be returned. People, when you pay your practicing fee, I believe that there are certain privileges you must enjoy by SODA. That is missing, and I expect this leadership to do something about that, so that everybody who is a legal practitioner, a member of the MBA, have a sense of belonging and satisfaction. It is doable, and we must do it. There is also a number of issues that will be done. Insurance, the way we pay insurance, I've seen members of the MBA who have had accidents, but have not gotten their entitlements. We have to retrieve it. If need be, we can change our insurance and give it to another person. So we need to also retrieve what is going on. And if it is bureaucracy in terms of how we assess those benefits, then we should put in place the necessary mechanism to make for a better one, so that lawyers will appreciate and benefit truly from this pool that is put in place. Again, we need to be more proactive in terms of legislative enactment in Nigeria. We need to be involved in it. A lot of laws have been passed without due diligence, without participation of the bar. We need to go back to it. The CAC is one important, government establishment where legal practitioners' interest is important. The way Amana CAC is being managed appears not to be too friendly with legal practitioners in Nigeria. Can the new leadership do something about that? I say yes, something can be done, and not the complication that we are witnessing. Again, the Federal High Court, for instance, just issued a circular saying, for instance, that they are giving us 1 month rebate. After 1 month, we'll be paying, for parking our cars at the Federal High Court. I think the bar should take it up immediately. There must be no commercialization of justice in any form. Once it is done in a place, it will be done everywhere. So the leadership must take it up immediately. And whatever we need to do about that, we need to do it so that it does not come to fruition. For me, it is illegal, it's unconstitutional, and must not be allowed. Again, the issue of conferences. For me, the way and manner we do our conferences in the last 10 years has been very, very unfortunate. Conferences. For me, the way and manner we do our conferences in the last 10 years has been very, very unfortunate. I used, to enjoy the conference a lot. These days I do not. Conference should not be profit maximization orientation. No. Conferences should be for the benefit of legal practitioners, continuing legal education. If you have to put in more resources to make sure that our members benefit from it, we should do so. We should not be looking for a way to generate profit. The profit that is not even useful to members of the bar, that is not good enough. These are many more challenges I expect the new leadership to take on board and make it more positive, more beneficial, and more salutary to all Nigerian lawyers, so that they will make history that they are the one who have brought about goodies for lawyers, young and old. For me, I think that I'm not expecting much, because really successive leadership of the bar has disappointed me as a person. I am not happy with successive leadership of the bar. I now pray and hope very fervently that I will be happy with the new leadership, believing that they will do the needful boldly as we pray they will do. Now, there are so many initiatives of the bar that have been abandoned. Akechi introduced Ganifa Emi award for social justice. I cannot remember the last time that award has been given. Yet, there are so many qualified Nigerians who are entitled to that award. Why will the bar abandon such an important initiative as that? Access to justice. That is an important thing in Nigeria. I mean, an important, phenomenon in Nigeria. There have been so many people who have done a lot of things in terms of enhanced access to justice, both individual, including non-lawyer. They should deserve this award, but it's not being given. That is unfortunate. In fact, painfully unfortunate, I must say. Because that is where the bar makes impact. The bar, Shakpara Williams had done just long ago, leads for the direction of the people. By the time the NBA gives an award to somebody, what has that person done to merit that award will be showcased, and many people will be encouraged to do the same. But we are not doing it. Yet we are making money to do what? Which is not recorded. So I hope that will be done. I'm not sure that this leader, the outgoing leadership, will do that. I did everything to encourage them to do it. I was assured it will be done. Unfortunately, I can't see it coming. The previous leadership be same. The one before it be same. It's like we are losing focus and attention, and that is not good for us. So I expect that we should go back to the core focus of the bar and beginning to reinvent the wheel progressively the way it should be. Now, again, I hope and pray that the new leadership will bring in place some of these things that I've talked about, especially those expectations that I've spoken about. For me, the current in Port Harcourt, I'm not looking forward to anything fantastic other than swearing in of the new ESQ. But I have faith absolute faith, I must say, I must confess and admit, in the new leadership that is coming, and I hope that we will not be betrayed by them. I hope I hope and pray that they will live up to expectation. If they are open, if they consult widely, and they are honest and sincere, I'm sure they will achieve a lot, and that will be beneficial not only to themselves but to the legal profession in Nigeria. Nurudeen Ogbara has not ceased to be a champion of human rights protection and enforcement. He has always championed social justice and is still championing it. I think what has changed is the environment and the scope of social justice. Now there are many. I believe in reproduction. There are many people that have worked with me who are also doing it now, and I thought that I should not be competing with them. There is also less publicity in the matter pro bono cases that I do, because I thought that I'm used to doing it now, and for me it has become part and parcel of me, and therefore there is no need for publicity. But I must confess that the scope has reduced. For instance, the case of Shola Abu and 369 others was a landmark case. It has never happened in Nigeria, and the environment was convenient for it. Now it is not as easy as it used to be, because you have to go to the prisons in Lagos, the Ikoyi, Kirikiri, maximum, medium, and women, and then you go to Badagry. These are distances, and then the officials in the correctional centers are not as cooperative as they used to. And then, of course, the judiciary too has also changed. Shola Abu and others' case was partly initiated by cooperation with the judiciary, and so there were documentation where the judiciary said that there is a list of awaiting trial mates. What can the bar do? And so we did. And that time I was a member, I was the secretary of NBA Ikorodu branch, and I was a member of the Administration of Criminal Justice Committee of Lagos State. And so I used that platform to fight that case. I'm no longer a member of that committee, so I don't have easy access to those statistics. Now, if I want to do any such thing now, I will have to engage the correctional centers management, who really are not as cooperative as they ought to be. And so you will write them, you will visit them. Can you give us list of awaiting trial mates, and let's see those you can cooperate with. They will say they will get back, and for months they will not get back. And there are other challenges that are coming up, that you have to face. Those are the problematic area that has made it impossible to repeat Shola Abu on that large level. But there have been some cases that were filed, but at the end of the day, we discover that those cases, the applicants, fundamental rights enforcement, for instance, I did about 10 last year, which I filed at the High Court. We now discover that DPP advice had come on some had even been released. And at the end of the day, we had to withdraw those cases. So those are the technical issues that grant that. But there are still workers' cases, student cases, victimized students, young people who are in conflicts with the law that we are defending. But we thought that there is no need to do publicity on them. Of course, there is a number of Freedom of Information Act cases that we are doing. One was the one we just concluded before Honorable Justice Fagi of the Federal High Court, where we were giving an order of mandamus, asking for information relating to gas flaring in Nigeria. Interestingly, that case took 5 years. The matter which ordinarily should have taken 3 months, we conducted it for 5 years. You know, and there are 3 other matters that are going on. And so Nurudeen Ogbara remains the same Nurudeen Ogbara, but the circumstances seems to change. But he remains unbent, focused, and progressive. Much. There is a reason I didn't want to go to the bench, and the reason is that I do not like monotony. I do not like to be a civil servant. I want to be as free as a butterfly, to do whatever I like doing without being, you know, burdened or restrained by some conventional principles of being a civil servant, of keeping secret, of doing this or not doing this. That is why I do not. But as a legal practitioner, I can decide, for instance, to do a case or not to do it. The way and manner I will do it, I will do it, as long as myself and client, you know, are in unison on how to conduct the cases. But as a judge, there are certain things you cannot do. And I felt that, look, I don't want to be, you know, restrained. I want to be as free as a butterfly. That is why I did not accept those appointments. I am sorry I did not, but I think that it's a personal decision. So I have no regrets for not doing that. Thank you very much. This is an important question. The NBA must be involved in the appointment of judicial officer from the beginning to the end. In fact, the moment the NBA makes a recommendation that a particular person is not worthy of being appointed as a judge, that person should not be appointed at all, because there will always be a reason. There are people we know, there are people we don't know. Those we know their strengths, we know their weaknesses. And so those that are, you know, fit, those that are fit and proper person to be appointed, we know them and we always recommend them no matter what. And those who are not fit and proper, we also know them and we urge the appointing authority not to appoint them. And if they are appointed, they will end up being disappointed, because those things that we have seen will eventually, you know, come up. And I commend the appellate courts. They consult the bar now extensively, you know, but the High Court lately has ceased to consult. We just hear that magistrates have been appointed, judges have appointed without input of the bar. That is not good, and that will create a problem not only for the judiciary but for the bar and indeed the legal profession, and ultimately to the larger society. If an unfit person is appointed as a judge, then you have destroyed the system. The integrity and reputation of the judiciary will be destroyed. The appointing authorities may not know those people as much as, you know, the bar know them, and therefore whatever the bar advises in terms of whether to appoint or not to be appointed, this must be given serious consideration. So any appointing authority that does not carry the bar along is doing injustice not only to itself but to the legal profession and the Nigerian society at large. Thank you very much. This is another important question. To be fair to the Tinubu administration, I think I will commend them for the initiatives they have done, but they can still do more, and I urge them to do more. In the area of welfare interests of the masses, they need to do a lot more. They need to do a lot of more. We hear that certain things are being done, infrastructures are being done. All of us see this. It's a matter of roads are being constructed, vehicles are being bought, and things are being done here and there. That is commendable. They can still do more. But in terms of food security, I think there is something that has to be done. Prices of goods and materials are too high. They can still be brought down. And I think there is need to focus more on this so that the masses will benefit from it. In terms of health, a lot is being done. More can also be done so that people can access, healthcare and facilities with ease, especially at the lower level. Forget about tertiary and whatever, for the basic health needs in terms of malaria treatment, headache, BP control, etc. Which are the basic ones. I know that a lot of people are dying as a result of BP. People had BP, they didn't know. People had malaria, they couldn't go to hospital for whatever reason because they don't have resources. So if people can be treated free of charge, I think it will save a lot of money. And I know that this is possible. There's a difference between malaria and typhoid. People don't know this. They just have a headache, they are tired, they don't go to hospital. Before you know it, you heard that somebody has died. We can afford that because the primary responsibility of government is welfare of the people. So a lot of attention must be focused on it, both at the state and federal level, including local government. Where this is not being done, I think the federal government must find a way of ensuring that the other two levels are doing something about it. Maybe they put in place prices or award or assessments committee, on a regional basis to be able to comply, or rather enforce compliance with this. I think we need to do that. Government has not been doing that. They need to do that. Now, with regards to the forthcoming election, I am not in a position to say that I'll prepare the appropriate, agency because I'm not part of them. But I think that the appropriate agency are not giving us, feedback information as necessary. For instance, we are hearing information now that you are going to print your BV, that they are not going to distribute card again. You are going to print it online. I don't know whether anybody has printed online. So they are not giving information. They need to address Nigerians long before the time. It's not a month or 2 weeks before election that you now be giving directive. By now, everybody should know. If you want to print, go and print now and laminate your BVN or your voter's card or whatever. They need to address us constantly. I think, in fact, I'm advising the INEC and other relevant agencies concerned with election 2027, conduct of 2027 general election, to begin to do what I call monthly briefing on the state of preparation of election so that Nigerians will be aware. I am aware that there are so many Nigerians who don't know where their voters card are now. So they need to be addressed to get it ready and know where they are putting it, whether in the wallet, whether in the wardrobe, so that it becomes easily accessible. Then I am aware that some people have misplaced their cards. What will happen? In Edo State, for instance, new voters have been registered, and they are on the social media. The number of people that have been registered between February and now have been published. I'm not sure that is being done in Lagos. I'm not saying that it has not been done, but I don't know. I am not in Edo State, I'm in Lagos. But that of Edo State, I saw it on social media. What is happening in Lagos is the same thing being done. And those that have been registered, what card are they going to have? It's going to be the plastic one, or they are going to print. In other states, the same thing must be done. So the electoral commissioners must be up and doing. The National Electoral Commissioner must be up and doing. The chairman of INEC must also be on ground always. So I suggest there must be a monthly briefing. Whether they call it press briefing or whatever name they want to call it, let them call it. Directed at giving information as far as 2027 general election is concerned, so that everybody knows what he or she needs to do ahead. So that is important. That is the advice I will give. That is an equally important question. The state police is an inevitable phenomenon in Nigeria. Perhaps, and earlier on I said that the Tinubu administration is trying. Yes, at least there is the issue of terrorism, there is the issue of banditry and whatever. Now, these federal states are spending money on police, even though the police is not a state creation, it's a federal establishment. Yet, there is no state that does spend, resources on that federal, entity. Now that we are going to have state police, it means that the state will be more careful and more focused in spending their own thing. Now, the corollary to that is that there will be a state for each state, and that state knows its requirements or needs in terms of security situation. So there will be more focus and more resources. Now, the possibility of abuse is also important. There is no way there will be no abuse, but we need to minimize the abuse, and therefore we need to put in place certain checks and balances. And one of that is the composition of the State Police Service Commission, or whatever name it is called. It has to be broad-based, such that people can have access to it. There must also be access to justice in terms of questioning decision, including policy decision of the police at any given time. Yes, it's a security matter, but that security should not give rise to impunity. So in doing that, there must be a provision for people to question for administrative remedies in the courts. There must also be public opinion being sought and obtained in terms of police policy and activity of state police, so that there will be monitoring of police functionaries at any given time. And there must be a guideline given to every police officer under the state police, and must be given to the public, so that public will also be aware of their rights, duties, and responsibility. There must also be a public, based mechanism by which individual can call a given number or report the excesses of any police personnel at any given time, and it should be functional, so that once a call is made, in so area there is a policeman whose name is so, whose number is this. This is what he's doing. Is it right or wrong? So that that person can be called. Those are the check and balances that we need to put in place and make sure that they are functional. That way, police officers will be responsible and responsive. Citizens too will be very conscious of their right and ensure that they enforce their right. So it's a two-way thing which should be done. And I think that this is also, practicable and should be practicalized.